Hi, this is Julie. Welcome back to my channel. So, we're getting ready to go to court. Brittany's asking me all of these questions like, what are they going to do? What does that mean for them? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know what the judge's decision is going to be. And I told her I'd assumed it would be very similar to like a divorce. So we would share custody, right? And she was like, well, does that mean that we're going to have to go live with them? I was like, I don't know what decisions they're going to make. I didn't know what their dad was going to ask for. And this was the first time I ever been through this situation. I didn't know legally what he had the right to do and what I had the right to do. All I could do was take the custody papers up there, that the temporary guardianship papers, the letters from CPS. And the only thing I could do. And I told them, I said, if you want your voice heard, you can always write letters. That's because she was asking me, could they go? And I was like, I don't think so. I'm not sure. So her and my other son, they wrote letters saying that, they did not want to go live with their father. And it wasn't being malicious. It was just they didn't know him. And they were comfortable and stable, and they didn't want to move again. They wanted the opportunity to build a relationship with him, but they didn't want to go live there. And, I understood that, but when I pulled all the papers out and gave them to the lawyer, I could see like he was upset that they wrote the letters. The lawyer read the letters. And I got exclusive conservatorship over them, which meant I had more legal right to them than either one of their parents. The lady was telling him, because he had child support ordered with her, and she put retro child support on him, which means that, and I'm going to have to break this up. This is going to be a super long video. I'm so sorry. It's probably going to be a bunch of parts. She told him, if the kids have ever lived with you for any period of time, we could take some of the back child support off from her, because they had seen how much she hadn't been involved in her life. And I was telling them, from everything that I knew, she didn't have them. Even before they came to my house, they would just be kind of from pillar to post. She would drop them off with strangers, drop them off with just various people, because that's just the way she moved. Even the people at CPS told me that that was kind of her pattern, not to be surprised if she came back and tried to get them. So when CPS got involved, and Brittany had called, she didn't want to go back with her mother. She was tired of living like that. She wanted some stability in her life and for her brothers as well. So when that happened, it changed things for them. But when we were there, I allowed him to, he kind of looked at me like, can I say something? And I was like, I've never seen him cry until she passed away last week. And he's about to be 18 on this Saturday. She and him were like thick as thieves. And he meant the world to her, more than anybody on this planet. And when she turned 17, she decided she was going to leave because she knew I couldn't call CPS or the police to bring her back. So she left. And her birthday is in November, like I said. So she left. She got sick in December and was diagnosed in January of the next year with having a leiomyosarcoma in her leg, where pieces of the tumor had got into her bloodstream and went up into her heart and her lungs and caused her to have a pulmonary embolism. Backing up the May before that, she was telling me that her leg was hurting. And I gave her some ibuprofen, because she wasn't like in tears or anything, but she was just saying it was hurting. Now she's a teenager. I'm used to, like growing pains and stuff like that. My son that just turned 19, he is 6'7", so he went through a lot of that. She wasn't tall, but Two of my other girls had the same issue too. It wasn't like in the leg, but it's just like you have weird pains in various places. And any of you who've had growing pains, you know what I'm talking about. So, I wasn't like too concerned. Well, the next day it was still hurting. And, there have been times when I've had to take my son to the hospital just because I was just like, I didn't know like what it was, and I just wanted to make sure it was okay. And they would always just be like, it's just growing pains. There's nothing we can do other than giving him some medication. And sometimes they would be like, he needs to take ibuprofen for a couple of days just to, help with the inflammation and stuff. So we go, they ask her, they're like, have you hurt yourself? Do you play sports? And at the time she wasn't playing sports. She was a very active, athletic girl, though. She was, she had a lot of, she liked doing things, and I know because I was in the middle of two boys, so I was very tomboyish as well. So they took an x-ray to make sure nothing was broken. She didn't have maybe a hairline fracture somewhere, or she bumped it and didn't know and it accidentally cracked. They did a sonogram to make sure she didn't have a blood clot. Didn't have a blood clot. And then they sent us home and diagnosed us with her having a muscle spasm. They sent us home with some muscle relaxers and some pain medication. We went and got that filled when we went home, and I gave it to her. She went to bed. I think it was still a little sore the next day. But the day after that, it was just kind of like, it went away. And when she was diagnosed, her doctor was telling me, I was like, well, what happened? I felt bad. Like, I'm like, how did this happen? Like, I don't understand. She was a very healthy girl. Wasn't like rarely sick. She had allergies, but still, and had asthma, but she wasn't like bad to where she had to be on a nebulizer, or like she had an inhaler if she used it. Activity would sometimes make it flare up. So what I would always tell her, like when she was playing basketball and volleyball, like make sure you do it before to just kind of open up your lungs and make sure you're okay. And there was a couple of times when she was playing where like I could tell she was getting really fatigued, and I would tell her, I'm like, you need to go do it so that, and then she would, because it wasn't that bad. And sometimes when you don't have asthma, that where you don't have to treat it all the time, you I think you don't, like, you take being able to breathe for granted, and then when you can't, it's kind of alarming, right? So like I said, back to when she had the pulmonary embolism and she was in the hospital. We didn't leave on good terms because she sneakily was trying to leave the house, but God revealed to me what she was trying to do, and I told her, and I was like, I know you plan on leaving on your birthday. She had gotten in trouble at school at an event, and I had to go pick her up. And I told her that day, I was like, I know you're planning on leaving. And she was like, and I know she was like, I know the people that, I didn't know that she had been sneaking her clothes out and doing all this stuff. But that's what she did. She went to go back and stay with one of the girls that she used to live with before she came to my house. And I told her, I said, I just want you to know that it doesn't matter that you don't like my rules. Everyone has rules. And they may not be mine, but everybody still has rules. And you're the type of person that you don't like to follow the rules if you don't agree with them. But there's going to be rules wherever you go. And I said, I know you feel like you're going to ride off into the sunset and everything is going to be great. I said, but you need to be careful what you're doing. And I told her, I said, you are getting ready to step into something that you ain't got no business stepping into. And then she got sick. She ended up getting in trouble at the place that she was with. And they found out some things, and she calls me and she was saying that she had to leave, and she asked me, could she come back? And I told her yes. Well, while she was in the hospital, because she was all this, her finding out she had cancer, she wasn't living with me.